Hello YouTube. Alright, today we have a fun audio day. Got a package in the mail. What is it? Well, the title of the video should reveal it, but either way. Ah, yes. A Lepai LP-2020A+. This is a Class T amplifier. And Class T's are interesting amplifiers. It's an IC that supposedly, I think if I remember right, has the audio fidelity of a Class AB amplifier with the efficiency of a Class D amplifier. So they pack a punch, essentially. So apparently these are Chinese amplifiers that they put the chip in, but I guess they're good. Lepai. The LP-2020A+. SMT, I don't know what that is. 2 channels, 12 volts, original, double PCB, Class T, speaker protection, has a relay, LED aperture. LED aperture, that's just weird. There you go, Class T amplifier. What's the back of this say? The same thing. Alright, nice. Of course, this is made in China, but what isn't these days? Here we are. Oh my god, it's so cute. It's so small. So here's what you get with it. You get an AC adapter and you get the amp. Now, I've looked at posts online, and these amps call for 2 amp power adapters, but they really need like 4 or 5 amp power adapters, so that's probably the first upgrade I'm going to do. Assuming they didn't give me one like that already. I'm assuming they didn't. Let's take a look. Looks like a pretty generic adapter to me. Gentech Technology Company Limited. Yeah, it's 12 volt 2 amp, so yeah, no getting around that. Here's the Lepai amplifier itself. Come here, little guy. Look at that. Looks like a little car amplifier. Why was the volume up all the way? What thing I noticed is that the knobs have fingerprints on them from the factory, so someone's been messing with this thing. Feels pretty good though. So, here's what you get with this little amplifier. Tone and direct power. You can attenuate the sound with bass and treble and all that fun stuff. So, there you have it. You don't have much, just tone direct switch. Volume knob with LEDs around it. What do you get for connectors on the back? You get your audio input and MP3, see if that's true or not. And you get speaker taps for impedances of 2 to 8 ohms. I'll probably be using 8 ohm speakers on it, so there you have it. And you get 12 volt adapter. See, it even says 2 amp on the back of it, but it really needs more like 5 amps, so I'll probably get a 5 amp power adapter from somewhere, maybe Radio Shack or like Parts Express or, you know, wherever I can find stuff like this. Here's the bottom of the amplifier, which you never see in the videos. It's just metal, so I think what we should do is open this up and take a look at it. So, let's take a look at what's under the hood. This is what's under the hood of this little amplifier. Now, I think it's important to note that this particular revision of the board is the 2013 revision, as opposed to the 2011 revision I've seen in other places on YouTube. This is what you get. It's a very small amplifier. There's a few surface mount components, mostly capacitors and a couple diodes and what look like some transistors down there. Those little black things. So there you have it. This is what's inside here. There's not a whole lot to it. As you can see, it's just a very small sort of design with some surface mount components, some through-hole components. But the heart of the system is right there, as you can see. The tri-path semiconductor. The TA2020-020. That's the heart of the amplifier right there. Now, these chips are not the most amazing in the world. You'd have to, as you can see behind it, by those the green things and the maroon capacitors, some filtering has to be done after the amplifier stage to get out some of the noise that this chip creates. So, obviously, it's not the most amazing thing in the world, but the efficiency and how they sound supposedly is definitely something to appreciate. So, I'm going to appreciate it. There's also some relays mounted on a little circuit board there. That's for the speaker. That's speaker protection. So you can see what kind of relays they use. So just a couple 12-volt relays. Now I've heard people when they mod these, the first thing they change out is this filter cap here. What they've put in the 2013 revision is a focus, damn it, a 16-volt 3300 microfarad capacitor. So I don't know if that's been changed from the last revision. Really not sure. But there you have it. It's a Lepai board made in Bukang. And that is the heart of this little amplifier. There's not a whole lot to these, but what's there is pretty significant. And this is the solder job if you guys want to see it. You can see the circuit path there. You can just look at the traces. There's not that many traces on this board, so there's really not a whole lot to this thing. So, there you have it. It's just a simple little amplifier. I paid about $23 for it to the door on eBay, so there you have it. Let's put it back together and actually see what it sounds like. You can see that the circuitry is pretty cool. And I don't like the fact that there's some circuit mount stuff because I am no expert at surface mount soldering, but either way, it's still a pretty discreet amplifier because there's not a whole lot of mystery as to what's going on here. You can actually see what's happening. So, there you have it. Although most of what's happening is in that chip there. Anyway, let's get to testing this amplifier. One thing I should mention is that the metal and the way all the stuff screws together on this particular amplifier are not wonderful. The china kind of shows when it comes to that. So, yeah, I just thought I'd take note of that. Alright, here we are at my secondary stereo setup, and I've got the Lepai amp all set up here. That's what it looks like when it's off. You can actually hear the relay click when you turn it on. And you can even hear it through the speakers. I have it hooked up to these two Bose speakers right here, these Bose 201 Series 2 speakers. Now here's the setup. That port on the back for MP3, I put a 3.5mm plug in. That is most definitely an input. Have my iPod hooked up in there. And it sounds great, actually, out of there. So, there you have it. I tested everything before I set it all up, so there you have it. The whole setup I have here is I have it plugged into these speakers, hooked up to these speakers, rather. I have the tape out of my Sherwood receiver hooked up to that, so we can listen to the so we can basically use this receiver as a source selector for the Lepai amplifier. So the first thing we're going to test is the MP3 input, because I'm sure this would be dead useful for computer audio. And the MP3 input is ideal for that because it's just a 3.5mm jack. So, let's see how she sounds out through that. Now that sounds pretty good, right out of the MP3 input. So, now this amplifier gets pretty loud for what it is. I'm fairly impressed with it. I've noticed that the sound is very different when you have tone on or just on direct. Even if you have the tone attenuators set in the middle, it still sounds different because there's a circuit going on in there. I'll have to demonstrate that. with some music here. Hold on. Turn it up and you'll be able to hear the difference. Direct, tone on. Direct, tone on. And that's the difference. It almost reminds me of a loudness circuit. It takes away some of the mid-range and attenuates it a little bit more. So it actually changes the sound when you have that on. So just keep that in mind when having one of these amplifiers. Now here's the question. Does this little guy rock out? Let me turn tone attenuator on. And we will rock out. One thing I've noticed is I can clip the amplifier fairly easily on this. Let me try it. So with these particular speakers, I can just absolutely peg the audio out on that chip. That is partially due to the AC adapter. If I get a 5 amp AC adapter, that will fix that distortion problem. But yes, this amplifier can rock out pretty well. It just needs a bigger power supply than what came with it. The 2 amps is not enough to get this thing to go any louder. It needs like a 5 amp AC adapter, which I do plan to get at some point. So that's just an example of how it sounds off of the 3.5 millimeter jack input. And that was Floyd the Barber by Nirvana, in case any of you were wondering. So what we'll do now is I'll turn that down. When you unplug the cable from your iPod or whatever you're using, when it no longer detects a signal off of this, it will switch over to the RCA inputs on the back of this, which obviously, like I said earlier, are coming from the tape out of the Sherwood, so I'll turn that on. Okay, so speakers are off on this receiver, but there aren't any connected anyway, so it doesn't matter. So VCR is hooked up to the HD radio, so let's turn the HD radio on. Turn this up a little bit, wait for it to get a signal. There's the 80s station. And there you have it. Pretty cool. This this little amplifier actually sounds pretty good. I'm impressed with what it can do for how small it is. The sound is obviously it's nothing to write home about, but for the size and for the price, it's pretty darn good. Definitely good enough for computer audio, or something just to get some noise out of the speakers in a way where you can adjust what that noise sounds like with those attenuation controls, and have a little bit of more control with the tone button. So that works out pretty well, I think. Let me turn the HD radio off there, and we'll listen to a record now. Let's see what a record sounds like through this thing. Alright, what I have here is Axel F on a 45, so we'll be using that. There you have it. Let's play this. Wow. That sounds fantastic. This little amplifier is great. I really like it. It sounds great through the RCA inputs, that's for sure. So, yeah. Let's put another record on just for fun. Why not?
I done ran into my baby and finally found my old blue jean.
What a great song that is. More records. More! More!
Groove, let the madness and the music get to you. Life ain't so bad at all.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. And for those of you who know me well, yes. And how could you go wrong after Michael Jackson with a little Prince? This amp sounds great. I really like it. For the price, for $23, it sounds fantastic. Definitely great for small projects and just like computer audio. I really think this would work out well for just computer speakers. Better than any Corsair, Logitech, Harbin Kardon, any of that. Any of that would be demolished by one of these and a pair of decent speakers. Like combining this Lepai with these Bose Series 201, these Bose 201 Series 2 speakers, it sounds fantastic. So definitely a worthwhile investment for small amp projects. I think I like this one a lot. It has its cheapness to it. Its construction is very Chinese, shall we say, but otherwise the amplifier inside sounds great. Its sound isn't incredibly clean, but it's clean enough to be passable and sound good enough, I think. So for computer audio, definitely worth it. For small amp projects, definitely worth it. And as a test amplifier, absolutely worth it. I'd probably be using this thing to test out speakers, along with just, you know, small little things here and there. Basically my little portable amplifier. It's the most portable I could find that had a good sound, and that's why I chose it. So I'm going to test this thing out for a while and enjoy it. I'm really liking it so far. But thought I'd show you guys the ins and outs of this thing, what it sounds like and everything, and if any of you guys have seen these before, they're definitely worth it for the price. On Amazon and on eBay, you can find them for about $23, and they sound really good for what they are. The Class T amplifier sounds like a great idea to me. The fidelity is pretty darn good. It sounds better than some of the cheaper STK chips on budget amplifiers I've heard from the 80s. So it's definitely an improvement over that. So there you have it, you guys. A little bit of a review and demonstration of the Lepai LP-2020A+. Have a good one, everybody. Ciao.